start the podcasting kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Uh-huh.
Right,
Yeah,
right, right.
no, yeah.
Because I myself, I started this whole podcasting. I think it was like a couple of months back. Like it's
Okay.
yeah, and it's been quite fun. Like at the start, I was just not knowing what to do with it and that kind of stuff because
Mm-hmm.
I just see Gary V posted that you should start a podcast, that kind of stuff, and it's a very general kind of thing, and it's go with the flow. It's been serving me quite
Yeah, for
well,
sure.
and yeah, and it's like me slowly finding the niche that I kind of want to go into, which is like towards lifestyle and mindset, and I really hope that we can actually talk about it a lot more, during our conversation and getting to a record, that kind of stuff. And
Yeah,
yeah, I really want to lean towards into experiences. And I'll say for this whole podcasting is like a reflection kind of a thing, like a reflection for us to like take a step back and relook at our lifestyle, our mindset in general, and just sharing about it. And just for example, for myself, like the big things that's in my head right now is like talking about like judgment coming from other people. How do I actually deal
Mm-hmm.
with that? I feel that I should not get way too emotionally attached to what other people say about the stuff that I actually do. Whenever people
Yeah.
criticize me or what so not, I will try to listen properly and not get affected by it and just move on from it. Like instead of getting emotionally attached to that, I get more centered and think more logically. And yeah, it's something like this, like experiences like this. I really wish to you know get into those conversations with.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Right,
Yeah, yeah, like you're a big fan of Gary V, right?
right,
Yeah, me too. So we
cool.
got a lot common ground there, yeah, for sure.
That's
With all the go ahead.
Yeah, that's cool shit. So yeah, by the way, I'm Jack Low. I'm from Singapore, and this year I'm turning 23 and currently serving in the army, like the military.
Oh, okay. Okay,
From
cool.
my Monday to Fridays. Because it's
Nice.
compulsory for us to kind of serve two
Yeah, yeah,
years
yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like during the weekdays I'll be in the army, and during the weekends I usually will do something random, doing this podcast thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I play e-games, Dota 2, and yeah, this and I do a bit of photography and that kind of stuff that's going on. Yeah, just
Cool.
trying
Cool.
stuff and all. So what's
Yeah.
it on your
Yeah.
side? You're
Uh
like
yeah,
athlete
I'm
or
I'm Garrett Wade. I live in New Mexico in the USA. I'm 19, and currently I'm a student and an athlete at a school called Eastern Michigan University, and I throw the javelin there, and but our season got canceled because of the coronavirus and stuff. So
right,
I'm back at home with my parents for I guess for the summer.
right, cool. So you kind of like just waiting for things out, right? Because of the virus thing that's going on.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it's going to be, I guess, a good opportunity to get into doing a podcast and everything.
Right.
Because there's no excuse not to right now, just because there's so much time. And then also, I am trying to, well, so I'm a student and I'm an athlete, and one of my like passions or whatever that I'm pursuing is I want to be a writer, like a fiction novel type writer.
Right.
And so, like having this time, gives me time to work on that and just to try to get better.
Right. Cool. 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 Like so that's some of the things that you kind of want to do, right? Like doing writing, doing some
Yeah.
sports kind of thing. Is it
Hmm.
like the sports kind of thing? Is it started like since you're very young, that kind of thing? Or
No. because here track is not a huge thing. Like it compared to like some of the European countries, like I know in Germany they start javelin when they're real young, but here, most guys don't really do javelin until later on. I know for me, I didn't start doing javelin until my junior year of high school, so that was like I don't know, 4 years ago maybe. So before that, I was playing baseball,
Right.
and then I switched over to javelin. But yeah, we do baseball and like football from real young, but not usually like javelin. But
Right. Javelin is like the one that you kind of toss,
yeah, it's like the
that kind
spear.
of
Yeah,
thing, or
yeah,
the spear kind of thing. Oh, that's cool. That's
yeah,
cool. Right,
yeah,
right, right.
yeah,
I don't really know about like the full details about how it works and that kind of stuff, but yeah, I get
yeah.
the idea.
Most
You
people,
toss the thing.
and most people like I always have to say like it's the spear one. They don't know which one I'm talking about.
Right, right. Well, I mean, like that's cool. Like it's a very unique kind of a thing, you know. Like I don't really like the people that around Singapore doesn't really do that. So it's really
Oh,
special
okay.
to
Yeah,
hear from someone who actually does javelin kind of thing. So
yeah,
like
yeah.
how has it been? Like is it something that you kind of like enjoy doing?
Yeah, yeah. So before college, um, like before I went to go through with college, when I was transitioning from high school to college, I was debating whether or not to, like, if I wanted to throw in college. And big follower of Gary Vee and everything, and I was big on being entrepreneur and everything. And I thought that there's so many other ways to make money that I don't need college to do that. But um, but one of the reasons I remember the first year of college, I kept on saying that the only reason I was going to college was so I could throw the javelin, just because I'd only done it for 2 years in high school, and I kind of wanted to, like, just to see like how good I could get. Um, and but that attitude towards college kind of changed somewhat, and then also I I might go on a little tangent right here. So is that okay?
Yeah, yeah, sure, no
Yeah.
worries.
Okay. Yeah. So the first year of college, I know that I was like, I was real like I didn't believe in college, but I was also real just set in like I wanted to be rich, right? And it's
I
obviously
had that
like
too.
who
I had that
yeah,
too.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, who doesn't want to be rich, right? But that
Right.
was that's not my primary focus anymore. Like so
That's
the funny
good.
thing is Gary Vee, one of his videos
The
just
switch,
split.
right?
Yes, yes, for sure. It was like one where he was saying that he wanted to change the conversation from being a millionaire to being happy, and that just really just did it for me. Like it really flipped the switch in my mind.
Right.
Yeah, and so I since then I have been more well. That year I was going and I was majoring in business, right? And I didn't think like because in college a lot of the beginning classes, at least I don't know about the later on classes for business school, but a lot of it is teaching you kind of how to be a good employee, to an extent, not necessarily a good like owner of things. At least that was my experience. And I just didn't have very much passion for the business school. The classes were boring to me. And I've always been kind of fascinated in psychology, in the human brain.
Right.
So this last year, I switched my major to psychology.
I think that's a
I'm
good
like,
move. I think that's a good move.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I switched my major from business because it was just like it just wasn't I wasn't passionate about it, like just not especially not the classes and stuff because I feel like all that stuff I could learn it on YouTube and I could learn the psychology stuff on YouTube too, but the if I'm going to be going to college, I want to be enjoying whatever class I'm in and stuff and kind of feeling like I'm getting something from it. So I've always been I have narcolepsy, which is it's like a sleeping disorder,
Right.
and so it's like kind of classified or you know like whatever it's called. It's like it's diagnosed by like excessive daytime sleepiness and stuff. So there's a chemical that controls your sleep and wake cycles,
Right.
and my and basically with narcolepsy, a lot of times it's autoimmune things to where your body will like you get sick with something, and then your body targets the wrong thing. So then my body killed off all my hypocretin, so that chemical that controls the sleep and wake cycle just got killed off, right? So I have to like I take medicine at night to help me sleep, and I'll take
Right.
naps during the day to help me stay awake, and then I'll also take medicine during the day. But one good thing that came out of it, or something that I think is kind of cool, is that like I have a lot of dreams because with narcolepsy you're in REM sleep like most of the time. So because you don't have the hypocretin, you won't go into the slow wave sleep.
Right.
So you're kind of dreaming the whole time unless you take medicine to go into the deeper sleep. And so I because I was dreaming so much, I kind of developed the ability to like all my dreams are lucid dreams, so I can control all my dreams.
Right.
So they're always really, really crazy and cool, and so I think that maybe is part of the reason like I am so fascinated by the human brain and stuff.
Right,
Is
right.
just
It
like,
make it make total sense, you know, like you
yeah,
experiencing the whole kind of like a this whole brain kind of a thing. I think you're
yeah,
probably very curious, like what the fuck is going on in there, right?
yeah, 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 for sure.
Right. Cool shit.
Yeah,
Cool shit. Yeah, you got what to say? Yeah.
oh no, I mean, that's also it also inspires a lot of my writing too, the
Right.
dreams, because it's just like such because they're like kind of like plot driven dreams to where it's just like really cool stories. And so like that's where I draw a lot of inspiration for my writing from. And then also it's funny because whenever Gary Vee flipped that switch in me, like switch it from wanting to be rich to be happy, it allowed me to get a better perspective on, well, allowed me to go in a direction to where I could gain more empathy towards people. So if you would have asked me like 4 years ago, 4 years ago, me, like, hey, do you want to go become a psychologist to help people? The answer would have been a definite no, right?
Right.
The
Right.
empathy wasn't there. Like it was not there. Um, Whenever you get narcolepsy, or most people that have narcolepsy also have a thing called cataplexy, which is like strong emotions like laughter will cause like loss of muscle control and stuff. So you kind of like go like this from laughing. So I like clamped down on my emotions and kind of killed them. And by doing that, I kind of like because like I wasn't even allowing myself to feel my own emotions, I definitely couldn't think about other people and how they felt, right?
Right.
And so I was just kind of stuck in like a place of not unhappy, like not like sadness, but like of um like uh, emptiness kind of.
Right.
I just didn't feel numb kind of. And so whenever he, switched my brain to thinking about happiness and everything, like now I want to help people, because I think I have a lot of because yeah, I think I have a lot of perspectives and stuff that could help people. Like, through like what you're doing here.
Right. Cause that's
Just get
super cool.
just get them.
Yeah, I'm glad that you actually get the mind kind of like a switch, you know, like
Mhm.
instead of like the typical like getting rich and be able to flex all those things that you kind of have, those all those cars, big homes, big watch,
Mhm.
and what's so not,
Yeah.
like make a switch. Like when we actually talk about happiness, is it actually starts to make sense, you know, like everything starts to make a lot of sense, and that we will feel so much happier within ourselves, and it's much more lively, it's much more active. We just feel good in general after like
Yeah.
focusing on the right stuff, you know, like
Mhm.
what kind
For
of a
sure.
path we wanna kind of lead into. And I'm really
Yeah.
glad that you actually found like the things that you really want to do, which is like going towards like this studying of this brain, the psychology kind of part. I think it's a very good focus, you know, and It
Hmm.
just comes down to like holding accountability to our words. And one of the ways that I actually do it is like by me doing like video journaling, and then record myself, and then I say certain stuff and I watch it back, and then I will say that, hey, I actually said all this stuff, and right over here we do this podcast kind of a thing. It's like we can watch ourselves, we can listen to ourselves speaking of the things that we want to achieve, and we can hold accountability to our words. So whenever, like in the future, like
That's
2 months later,
that's cool.
and you looking back and listening to what you actually said, you will say that I actually said those. I should really execute on those.
Hmm.
And it's
Yeah,
not,
for sure.
yeah, it's like
I
mapping your words to your actions. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of a neat idea to do, to hold yourself accountable. It's funny though because
Right.
I think that recording a lot of my stand, because I like to think about things a lot, just life, just philosophy, all this type of stuff. And so if I were to record my feelings about something, it'd be interesting just to see how much they change, just because the more you think about things, kind of a lot of times your perspective can change. So like 4 years ago, me, I would
Right.
record something like saying, yeah, I don't want to help people, I don't care about people.
Right.
But now I and when you're talking about that, whenever you focus on happiness, like a lot of everything just starts getting better. To me, it's really crazy to see how many people that haven't that aren't aware that you should live your life to be as happy as possible. Like I've talked to some people before, and I asked them like, "What do you want? Like, picture yourself in like 5 years. Um, what would make you the most happy at that point in your life, right?" And the people are just like they get so thrown off because I say, you should just do everything to make yourself happy, and this is not a common, like it's not like a widely said thing. Um, like they say, I mean, the closest thing that kind of gets to it, is like follow your passion, right? But I think like especially like um, with jobs and stuff, right? Like not going into a job that you're gonna hate. It To me, the follow your passion, it get close to the point that I think it wants to, but it's not as like because before I'd heard that a bunch before, and it never hit me as hard as you should focus on happiness. That should be your main goal, and I think that that's a message that the that needs to be more widely spread in the world, so we're all aware of we should all be striving for happiness.
Right. It's like a totally different like subject matters that it's like typically being talked about, right? Like in the outside. Like nobody, not much people would actually talk about happiness, kindness, empathy, this kind of like subject matters in the outside, right? It's a very, I'll say a very small subject matter that is talked very little about. And yeah, I mean like it's important. I feel like this whole thing is super underrated, and I feel that we should actually kind of like talk about it more and be more thoughtful about it. I mean that the whole game is being thoughtful about all those things that is being going around, like especially like having this whole virus that's going on, and it's like a good time to actually take a step back and we look at things, like stuff that we actually do, be grateful about the things that we actually have, and just live life and all. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it definitely can give us perspective on life, right? Everything slows down, and I think a lot of people are actually having some mental health issues right now because they are now confined to their own thoughts. And like before you can go out and if you're always hanging out, if you're always doing things, you're not here, and you can kind of be distracted from your own inner insecurities and all these things. But now, whenever people don't have the distractions anymore, all that stuff just that's been building up is now just on them.
Right.
And
I think I get what you mean.
yeah, so I mean, for me, it's I really enjoy um, enjoy examining all the things that that I am messed up, like that have messed me up, kind of like mentally, like insecurities and everything. To me, it's really it's always interesting when I just discover something new that like I realize, oh, like I feel insecure about myself for that thing. And then, but once you realize what it is that you're insecure about and the root of it, then you can kind of actively seek to overcome that insecurity.
I like that a lot. I like that a lot because like in the past, like I feel that I'm very subconscious or like not thinking about it, and it just feels like it's not being addressed because we are
Hmm.
not like actively like thinking about it and just
Yeah.
let it flow. And I don't think that's the game to it. And recently, after like actively talking about it, recording about it, me looking back about it, yes, things are starting to click. Like we get to into the roots much quicker and much easier, and
Hmm.
we get to address a lot more stuff, and rather than you not like thinking about it, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. The busy daily life can kind of um, muddle things, and you don't realize what is making you unhappy, right? Like if you're just always going, which is good if you are enjoying what you're doing, right? And but if you're just going, and it's not, you're just doing it to get the money, or right, so you're stuck in a, and you can't address what makes you happy if you don't think about it, right? If the conversation isn't there, you won't be having a you know kind of not constant, but uh, well, I guess a constant conversation with yourself is how can I be the most happy, right?
Right. Right. Cool.
So yeah,
Yeah.
like I know. Yeah, go ahead.
I really like the flow that we are going right now, and I think we can start recording. I actually started recording like what was that, like feel like I think for 30 minutes. I think you're cool with that. Right now it's like 19 minutes left, and
Oh yeah,
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 because I think that we got a good flow, and I really like the
no,
conversation,
for sure.
and we can
um
just keep it going like this.
can you go to your settings, so, or
Right.
no, go to participants or something,
Right.
I think, so you can, because I need permission from you to record.
Oh, right, right, right. Sure. Oh, where do I actually do that? Like,
So can you go to, hmm, let's see, I think maybe it might be under participants. um, so maybe if you go to, let me see.
right,
Oh yeah, yeah. Go to, I think I think you can go to the next to the video icon. There's a little arrow. You can go to that, and then you can go to video settings.
right. It's under the video function there. Video
Yeah, yeah,
settings.
yeah. And then you go to, well, I think maybe go to recording. Um, maybe that.
Recording. All right.
I don't know if there's anything that says allow. Maybe I could just.
Oh, because is it saying that it's not allowing you to kind of like record it?
Yeah, uh-huh. It says I need to ask for permission from you.
Right. Oh, gosh, I'm not sure about this.
It's okay. You're recording it though?
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
actually share with you once
Oh
I
yeah, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, if you just share it with me, that's cool.
yeah, I think
That
that's
works.
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, the only thing, my face it will be flipped. Um, like whenever I'm looking at it here, the computer, I think I have it on or something to where it flips my face to where like how you see it like in the mirror or something. But it'll flip for you. Uh, I think I'm flipped to where you're seeing me the normal way, like how you should see me.
Right, right,
Um,
right.
and so I mean, but that doesn't mean it doesn't matter.
Cool shit, cool shit. I mean, like, maybe next time we can like figure out the technical
Oh yeah,
part to
yeah,
actually
yeah,
get
yeah.
you
If you're
to
down
actually
to
do
do
the
this again,
recording, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
I think we can just chill for now, you know. Like we can always do another time, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
the time zone's a little weird, but we're making it work.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Is it nighttime on your side right now, or?
Yeah, it is. It's 10 o'clock here.
Oh,
It's
cool
10 o'clock
shit.
on Saturday. Yeah,
Right, it's 12 p.m. on my side right now. Yeah, cool.
yeah, you're in the future,
Yeah, cool
whole
shit.
day.
All right, cool shit, cool shit. Yeah, so like maybe I'm actually quite curious about like the lifestyle that you kind of like have. But this will not really be a very good example because it's the whole coronavirus thing, and then you are stuck at home, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm still
Yeah.
curious. You know, like towards like your Monday to your Sunday, what are the things that you actually do? Like Monday, you probably sit down to listen to some podcast or what so not. Like,
Oh,
how do
okay,
you run
okay.
through your day? Like, you hanging out with your friends and yeah, what's up, man? Like, yeah,
So when I'm at school, I mean, it all kind of depends on the school schedule, but really in college, it's kind of school schedule is kind of light. Um, you have a lot of time, right? And I, I do school and I do practice, but um, throughout the day, like I mean, because I have narcolepsy, and also because I enjoy so I take naps right during the day. So a lot of like maybe more than is needed. I spend sleeping, right, because my dreams are so cool. Okay, so I do that. Also, like, so I was living in the dorms on campus, and I was living like in a single. So I enjoy having my own space to kind of sit and think about things, right? Um, and so really when I'm out there, I don't actively go out and hang out with people. It's kind of like I'm hanging out with most of my friends who are like the throwers on the team, and
right.
so I kind of live with them. So and then I also see them at practice and stuff. So I hang out with them then, and then I will kind of, whenever it's outside of that time, usually I will not like, seek out because I'm, more so introverted. I enjoy talking a lot,
Right.
but I don't like to do a lot of the same things some people do, like the parties and stuff. It's not really something that interests me. I would rather have like a deep intellectual conversation like this one than just go and like get drunk or something.
Right.
And most people aren't really interested in this type of
Yeah,
conversation
in a lot of
for the
ways,
most
I'm very
part.
similar to you. You know, so I
Yeah,
can
yeah,
totally
he's
relate to
great.
that.
Yeah, yeah, the Gary V Nation.
Right. Cool shit.
So I don't like actively set aside time to like listen to podcasts and stuff. I haven't been I never really listened to Gary Vee on a podcast because I
Right.
it's all the same stuff from his Instagram,
Right. Right.
and
It
which
is.
is great, right? I'm not knocking that, which because he's putting his message out there everywhere. But I just don't need to. If I listen to podcasts, I'll more like listen to Joe Rogan than Gary Vee. I don't know if you know who Joe Rogan is, but that's that's like my go-to podcast
Cool.
is the Joe Rogan Experience, just because he's got a lot of cool guests on and stuff and they're doing a lot of the thinking about all kinds of different topics that I enjoy. But so apart from I sleep, I go to practice, um, I
Right.
do school, and then I write. Um, and then I've been trying while I was at college. I don't I make sure to avoid like Netflix and like playing Xbox and stuff,
Right.
because I know myself enough to know if I start like a show on Netflix, I don't stop. I
Right.
just keep on going.
Right. That's like
Yeah.
keep on going,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah,
Right.
like I have narcolepsy. I got a sleeping disorder to where like, I should be falling asleep and stuff, but if I'm watching a show or something, I will be able to stay awake forever. And I'll be watching that show forever. And so I just kind of avoid it because I don't want all my time wasted like that. Um,
Right.
but I mean, if you don't like Gary Vee, I has said before, like, because he talks about, um, all the like, he don't want to hear like, oh, I want to be making more money if you're spending so much, if you're wasting a bunch of time on Netflix and stuff like this. But he said he doesn't care if you don't care that you're wasting a bunch of time on Netflix. Like, if you're not complaining and you're watching Netflix, he doesn't care, right? So if uh, if you enjoy watching Netflix and you're fine with wasting or not even if you don't deem it as wasting your time, it's not wasting your time. It's all just your perspective on things.
Right. I mean, like it's all about like each individual like thinking what is right for themselves. Like
Hmm.
there's no
Yeah, for sure.
right for everyone. There's no wrong for
Yeah,
everyone.
yeah.
It's just
That would
like
be boring.
right for you. Yeah. Like whatever feels good for you. Like you're reaching your goals and you are feeling good in your soul and heart. I mean, like
Yeah,
that's the game. I mean, like
for sure.
yeah. As long as like we're kind of like thoughtful about it, like we think about it and we assess it properly, not in a very rush manner. I think that's
Hmm.
the whole game about that. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Um, it's interesting too, like to where to practice empathy. One of the things I've realized is that if you get in like a dispute with someone, right? Everybody is operating from how they know best, right? They're operating under what they believe, what they think is right and everything. So if you get in an argument with someone and they feel like, you know, you're feeling like they wronged you and they feel like you wronged them, right? What I've realized lately is that I can't stay mad at somebody because I realize that they they believe that I was being a jerk or something. And their feelings, because I feel differently, doesn't mean that their feelings are wrong, right? I think that both feelings are simultaneously right. Because if that's how you feel, that's your own personal experience, right? So, what I've realized, I've felt this lately, where I've gotten into like a dispute kind of, and I was kind of mad, and I went away and I realized that I was holding on to this anger, holding on to this kind of like they were wrong and I was right, kind of this feeling. And when um, I knew that I was like they're right and I'm right, but I know that they are not operating from like some, you know, they're just doing what they know best, right? And
Right.
so I held that belief in my mind, but then at the same time I felt like my ego not wanting to give in to that thought. It wanted to hold on to the anger, right? And it's like it takes a big I mean, I guess a big person to be able to accept the fact that be able to actually internalize that knowledge that if you and I are mad at each other, we're both living our experience, right? So if you can flip it and look from somebody else's point of view, you can't really hold too much of a grudge on somebody for doing anything, right? It's all just their life experience and how they see the world. And so it's hard to maintain the anger, but you have to let yourself forgive, right? You have
Right.
to let yourself like you have to swallow the pride with like the pride of, oh no, I'm better.
Right. I almost feel like this kind of thing is like as long like I feel that a lot, like it's been like a thing that I've been working on a lot Like I'm thinking about it and I'm like, yeah, you talk about like having this ego kind of thing that gets into us. Like it happens
Yeah,
to me a lot. It's like
yeah,
not easy for me, like I feel that
yeah.
at least I'm trying. Like I think that I'm pretty much quite bad at it. Like whenever someone points out a mistake that I actually do, I will not. And after like it's like not instantly that I will kind of like address it. It's like pretty much like it tells me of something that I did bad, that kind of stuff, and then I at the start like did not believe into it, and then like 10 seconds in, 15 seconds later, I started thinking like it's actually right. Like should I actually admit my
Yeah,
mistake?
yeah.
Should I
Uh-huh.
actually talk about that? Like should I be open about it? And I always like kind of like procrastinate in a sense that I'll just hold it saying that like, oh, it's already
Uh-huh.
been a minute after that issue. There's no point for me to actually talk about it. But
Oh, yeah,
that's
yeah.
the moment for
Hmm.
us to get it in and actually be open about it and just talk about it. And you
Yeah.
know what?
That's why.
It's a hard thing.
Have you ever? Yeah. So that's why, like the saying, "The truth hurts," right? The truth hurts. That's like the reason the truth hurts so much is because we're constantly lying to ourselves, right? We try to convince ourselves about something, and whenever someone tells us something that we already know, it shatters that lie. It exposes us because we already know that's the truth, but we're trying to lie to ourselves. So when we get that external confirmation, it makes the lie so hard. So your automatic instinct is to push it off because it causes pain. Um, but if you can get past the ego part and like then that's when you can grow, right? That's whenever you can take people's criticism and actually grow from it instead of being hurt by it, right?
Right.
So
Definitely, definitely, like makes sense to me right now. Like, it's all about this whole ego game that we are actually putting out there. Like, uh, are we willing to take like the micro L's, which I always talk about micro losses.
yeah,
Micro
yeah, yeah,
L's, and just admitting it's just it feels so much better. Like you got nothing to lose whenever you are able to take all those micro L's, all those
hmm,
like I think it's like a kind of like a progress kind of a thing. Like you got to keep
for
practicing,
sure.
and the next time someone says that to me, I'm gonna admit that. Like like 10 seconds in, yeah, sure enough, like and I mean like everyone like it's caring about themselves more. They don't really like look into others that much. I always have like the perspective of see imagining other people is looking at me, like they are spending a lot of time looking at me, and they're actually not, like
People don't care about you.
yeah
No,
they
no, yeah,
yeah yeah
exactly.
yeah
Uh-huh.
like say for example like last year, like I started putting out all my insecurities, all those sensitive
Hmm.
things that I want to
For
really
sure.
kind of like I'm very
Hide.
scared about. I just
Hmm.
share it out like constantly,
Yeah, for sure.
videos after videos after videos. And every time I like, kind of like post all those videos, I will be like, oh fuck, why did I post that? And I'll be scared, and I'll just put the phone off. And then the next day I wake up fresh and on, and like I look at the post and nobody gives a fuck. Like
Nobody cares.
yeah,
No,
nobody
nobody
cares
cares.
there. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
we're all so obsessed with our own because we all feel like everybody's looking at us and everybody's judging us, right? And
right,
and we're so doing that that we don't all realize that we're all just worried about what the other people think. And even if people are casting judgment, like that judgment is only coming from it's like a deflection. Like that's unhappiness within themselves, right? You don't judge other people if you're perfectly content, right? You judge other people whenever you feel like there's something inside of you wrong. And then you will find things in other people that are wrong to make yourself feel better, right?
right,
And so that's like something that I hold that I hold in my head whenever I'm worried about the opinions of others is that if they're judging me, it's because they're hurting, right? Like
Right.
they are tied up in the ideals of society and how they need to be. And so if they are, you know, deflecting those feelings onto me, like if I'm breaking some norm and they are uncomfortable by that and they judge me for that, it's because they are like, we all are just, a lot of the stuff that we believe is just society telling us to believe these things, right? And so if they are judging me, and I know it's just coming, that's why uh, Gary Vee talks about like he feels sympathy or empathy for the people like the trolls and stuff because he knows that those people are the ones that are hurting the most.
Right. And they actually make a lot of sense, like looking at people who actually without hate and that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah, they actually feeling sad on themselves, like they are feeling sad in general, and the reason why they kind of like spit out like hate, it's yeah, it start to make a lot of sense for me, like if you're positive, you definitely will give out positive vibes,
Hmm.
that kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
yeah. That's why. I mean, I don't know if you're annoyed by me constantly referencing Gary Vee, but like one of the things he says that he wants us everyone just to wake up feeling weightless, right? Like that's the happiness, that's the feeling of happiness is weightlessness inside, right? You're not. So I think a lot of people that are spewing the hate stuff, they are being crushed by life. So they don't feel, when you feel light, you don't feel the need to put judgment onto other people, right? And if whenever you do judge people, I've like taking the time to feel like where's that where's that judgment coming from, and when I think about that I'm realized like, oh wow, that's actually something that you're insecure about, or you are just trying to find something to put them down to make you feel better.
right, like it's all about like us, at the end of the day, I think it's just like us getting to feel good, in
Uh-huh.
general. Like it's not about like those other people's judgment and that kind of stuff, because I feel that like a lot of times, like as much as like I think about like Gary Vee actually talks about like you should not be caring about all this judgment because they coming from a sad place, but I think that is a very good thing for us to actually kind of like practice, to keep it to habit, like actively thinking that why are these guys making such comments
Hmm.
and what so not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and not getting me emotionally attached to it, which I always get into, always get into emotionally attached to those criticism which means nothing, which whereby people
Hmm.
don't even have the context, about like what the hell am I doing. And
Yeah. Uh-huh.
yeah, I
Yeah, I
I
know where
think
you're coming
yeah,
from.
yeah, I think it just comes
I
down to a lot of practice.
hmm I looked at your page, and I saw that you don't have that many followers yet, right? So
Right.
I put that against you, right? Because I wanted to make myself feel better. But I saw how you've been grinding. You've been putting stuff out, putting stuff out. You look at my
Uh,
page. I haven't put anything out, right? So I'm the one. My followers don't mean anything, right? Because I'm not putting anything out. Those aren't followers that are there for the stuff I want to be talking about anyway. And so you're way, I got tons of respect for what you're doing because
Thank
you're
you. Thank you
actually,
so much.
you're actually, doing it. You're doing. It's what so that's what I want to get to. And I didn't know how to start a podcast and everything. And whenever you hit me up, and I was like, who's this guy? Like, what he wants me to be on this podcast, right?
Right.
I was like confused, but I was happy because it. I think it's going to jumpstart me into being able to do it, right? Because this is easy. This is not hard, right?
Right.
It's just a conversation, and so um, I, um, yeah. So I just want to be able to do like you, and I think that uh, you know you
Right.
just keep on going, and you'll do
Cool.
well, like
Respect, man.
so.
Yeah, I mean like Garrett, like this thinking about this whole thing, I think that's the game, you know, like as long
Hmm.
as you're like thoughtful about it, you know what's the game, and you know you understand about the process is about doing. I mean that's the end. Like you already won, like you already understood the level of like what is up in the game, what should be done, instead of like
Hmm.
you knowing like what kind of like things represents to you. For example, the photos that you have, all those likes and everything, what does it represent, you know? Like it doesn't mean to like
Hmm.
what your life is about. Like they don't have like the full
Exactly.
context with a single picture. Like it's
Hmm.
like more of like you doing this whole conversation kind of a thing, and what likes you're getting from here. Yeah, that's, I
Yeah,
think
that's
that's the
it's more
game. Yeah,
meaningful.
yeah,
So
understanding
so
that.
so,
Right, you were saying?
so sometimes I am like I consider myself like a smart person. Like school's always been pretty easy for me, right? But it's been easy to the extent to where I don't have to try that hard. So my work ethic when it comes to school is not good because I don't have to try hard. And so I I know that I'm underperforming, right? And I know that I'm not doing as much as I can be doing. And a lot of times in life, I have realized that I feel like a sense of like not being, because I'm not grinding, um, or because so I don't see my worth, right? And the times when I feel the most worth something and have the best, uh, like I feel like my thoughts and stuff mean something is like whenever I'm having these meaningful conversations. I feel at my best then, and a lot of times because I know I'm not doing as much as I can do, I just carry this disappointment in myself, right? And so that's not something that's great to live with, and so it's just hard to um, like because you do it for so long, it's hard to break past that, right? It's hard to change. But I think, you'll get the credit for, jump starting my podcast and stuff.
Right, this is cool shit. I think I really like your vibes, and like I mean like the whole game about this whole thing, it's to be humble, you know, like I think being
Hmm.
humble is like a great gift, like a great thing to have, you know, like you will like actually take a step back to like relook at things and be
Yeah.
open minded, you know. I mean like it's all about being open, like letting things come to you and you assessing whether is it for you. Yeah, sure enough, like you don't obviously like take in everything, you know, like not everything it's like right for you. You got to assess it, like filter out the things that is right for you. And
Hmm.
I mean like
Yeah,
I think I really like the flow, you know, like the energy
for
that we're
sure.
getting, the vibes that we're getting. It's like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
very being very thoughtful about like the different subject matters that's going
Hmm.
around the world. And you know, at this period of this coronavirus kind of thing, like we are taking a time out to take a step back, you know, look at things. And I think that's the game, you know, like talk about stuff and all that kind of thing that we are
Hmm.
like interested about, right?
Yeah. 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 You mentioned being humble, right? And for the longest time, I was not humble. I wasn't able to be. So I think that, like, and also like the ego thing, right? All of that is like like, you know, having an overactive ego or not being humble is just because you're burdened by your insecurities, right? Like if someone thinks that, like, I know that a lot of people think that I think I'm the best, right? Well, like from the past, right? Because I would like say that I'm better than people and stuff. Like this is whenever I was unhappy and whatever. Like I wasn't able to be humble, or I wasn't being humble because I was um, burdened by the insecurity. So the ego a lot of times is kind of like a mask for the insecurity. Like it's a shield, to put in front to protect yourself, right?
Right.
And you're not realizing that you actually, like, I didn't realize, I actually thought I was better than I thought I was better than everyone else, but really it was just a thought on the surface to protect myself from the fact that I actually all these insecurities that are there, that I actually don't feel like this. And so, but once you realize that, once you realize what you're doing, then you can start to overcome it, right? You can start to throw out the incorrect thoughts, so you can uh, see that you you thinking that you're the best is not coming from a place like of truth, right? You're lying to yourself and you're trying to protect yourself. And if you just can kind of get over that hump and let go of the insecurities, then you can reach that place of humbleness, right?
Right.
A lot of people that, you know, I think that a lot of people that are humble are, most people that are happy, right? Like, I mean, obviously, there's the flip side where there's people that they seem humble, but it's because they are self-conscious of they don't think that they're worth something, so
Mm.
they'll give this kind of vibe off that they're humble, but it's because their self-worth isn't there, right? So you need to find, like, so there's different ways for different people, but I definitely came from the other side where I fronted that I was the best and that I felt like I was the best, but
Mm.
inside this is not necessarily how I felt, and I realize that now, and so now I can get to a place of being humble, right?
Right. I love that a lot. Like you actually getting to be able to, like, instead of having the very narrow perspective, you're widening it up, and
Hmm.
you're
For
getting to,
sure.
like, recognize like what is on the surface level, what is like deep inside, what is the lies, what is the truths. That's
Hmm.
super powerful
Yeah.
and all that kind of thing. And I really love that. And oh, so with that, right, I think we're soon to gonna end off this whole podcast thing. So any, like, last few thoughts that you kind of really wanna talk about before anything else? Yeah.
I mean, just well, I mean, I got a lot of thoughts, so I mean, we got to do this again. But
Right, definitely.
um,
I mean, like, I think this is a very good, like, a weekly, monthly kind of a thing that we actually, like, kind
for
of like
sure.
have a conversation. I mean, that it's just pretty much. I feel like this is like a catch up, you know,
Yeah,
just
yeah, for sure.
catching
Yeah,
up with
yeah.
each
This.
other kind of thing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, oh, I apologize if these lights in the background are like messing things up.
Oh, it's cool. It's
Like
cool.
my Wi-Fi in my room is really bad, so I had to come in here. But no, so I think that um, my biggest thing is just being very conscious of what makes you happy, and actively going towards that thing, and not allowing the ideals of society to stop you from that, or basically just get the message out there to people that this is what they should be doing. You should want your own happiness, right? This is what you everyone should want that, right? I know I got in an argument with somebody on Instagram or something, and he
Right.
was talking. I don't know, but it was like something like some girl had dumped some guy uh, for a dumb reason, or I don't know if it was dumb or something, but he was mad at her, right? And he was saying that she should have been with him regardless of, like, she was a worse of a person for being um like shallow, right? And I was like, well, I don't I I was um in my opinion, I feel like he should be with someone that is fine with that thing, and she should be with someone where she could be happy, right? Like, I want everyone to be happy,
Right.
not someone to have to sacrifice their happiness for someone else's. I want everyone to be able to be happy.
Right.
And so I think that I want to change, like, big aspirations and stuff. I want to, like, change the world, right? I want to change the way, the social world, right? And the way that we socialize with each other, and um, and to basically get past these insecurities, right? And, like, for me, like you said, whenever you made those videos, it made you about your insecurities and you threw them out there
Right.
to, like, expose yourself, right?
Right.
I am an oversharer, and I like to share these insecurities because it makes me feel like once it's out there, it loses its power, right?
Right.
And so I feel like we've gotten to a place as a society where we all are so fake online, right? We because we all want people to think that we're perfect, right? And that's the shield, the front of the ego thing. Like, oh look, I'm perfect, but you know you're not, right? You know what's behind the curtain, and so I want us all to get to a place where we're fine with sharing our insecurities, and we realize that this is by sharing them they lose their power, right? And I want to get to a place where like there's so much judgment, and there's judgment on people that like th- one of the big things that I realize is that a lot of disagreements
Right.
in the world today, whether it's politics, religion, all this stuff, is because we don't understand how to communicate effectively, right?
Right.
We don't understand because if you kind of a lot of times if you're on a certain view, it feels like the other side is talking like at you, or like they're like we can't actually effectively communicate our reasons why we're doing things, right? And I feel like if we all understood each other's why, we wouldn't be so like the tribalism in the world today wouldn't be as intense, because if you expose the why, not like like I always before I had a problem with the body positivity movement, like where it's like accept fat people and fat is beautiful. I had a
Right.
problem with that before because I didn't understand the message. I felt like they were telling me I had to be attracted to fat people. And
Right.
but now I actually see a lot of beauty in the message of body positivity and accept yourself, but I can see why, like, to someone who isn't in that mindset, it feels like those people are failing to communicate effectively to the people that don't understand that point of view. And so then it feels like you're just attacking me, so fuck you, like. And so that's what a lot of stuff that happens is we just we try to say something to someone and they take it wrong because they don't understand where we're coming from. And so we just need
Right.
to really expose our whys, and because a lot of it is common, we all want the same things to an extent. Like we want a better world, a happier world, right? Nobody like okay, except like there's maybe like a few people that want everyone to
Yeah.
die and stuff, right? But that's not normal. So we all want the same thing. We all just are communicating it in a different way. And if we can speak our whys, I think that we could get past all this tribalism in the world.
Right, definitely. I mean like this is a very beautiful thought to actually have, like it's
Hmm.
a very selfless kind of a thing. I like thinking about like other people. Like I just feel in general this whole thing is such a beautiful thought to have. Like I can see your point, like people like getting too quick to judge upon others having no context. Like that's why we should
Hmm.
lean towards all those why. So yeah, I think that's a big part that people should be more thoughtful about whenever we do conversation, and it's
Yeah, for
it's,
sure,
it's a big
for
thing
sure.
for sure. Yeah, and right
All right.
now, yeah, you can
Uh,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I was just gonna thank you for reaching out to me and having me on here.
Right,
And
yeah,
I
I
just
mean,
I love what you're doing, and
yeah, cool.
just keep on grinding.
Yeah. I mean, like it's just a like a kind of like a catch up kind of a thing. It's just kind of like a
Hmm.
chill talk, and I'm just having fun, like just listening to like another people's like point of view, how they view about life, like the subject matters that I've been thinking a lot about, and just nice that you have like a lot of like similar thoughts that I actually have, and the kind
Yeah,
of
for sure.
lifestyle that you actually have, and it just brings a lot of clarity for me, to be honest, that like
Hmm.
life it's like something that we got to be actively thinking about, a lot of things that we got to be
Yeah.
actively thinking about. And whenever we actually do it, we are kind of like know why we do it, like back to
Hmm.
the why kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
I think
Right,
it's good to have a conversation. Like, you said you're in Singapore, right?
right,
It's good to have these cross cultural, like, across nations conversations, because I feel like a lot of people, I know this is how I was too. It's hard to feel empathy for someone that you've never seen, you don't know them, right?
right,
So it's hard to understand someone's hurt and struggle, if like, you're like, well, I don't understand them. And even especially if there's a language barrier too. I know
right,
before, when I didn't feel empathy towards people, I was like, I don't know them, and maybe think of them as less of a person, because I feel like, I'm in error, right? But in not realizing that we're all people, right? We're all this, like, we're all the same. It's not like I'm special, or like, so yeah. So being able to talk across and see the similarities is great.
right.
Like,
Definitely.
it's crucial.
Definitely. I just like this whole thing about like me having like talking to strangers, that kind of a thing. And I think it
Hmm.
just
Yeah.
brings us to, I think I'll say it's like more of like a comfortable zone, because I don't know this
Mhm.
person. There's nothing to hide, like I can just talk whatever
Yeah.
shit I want to
Uh-huh.
talk about, it's
Exactly. Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
been, yeah, super fun with you. Yeah. Super grateful to have you here on this podcast. Yeah.
Thanks for
And
having me.
yeah, thank you.
What's
Thank you.
your does your podcast have a name?
Yeah. For now I kind of like put it as Jack Low. I just put it as my
Okay.
name, and I
Yeah, yeah.
putting it up as a series of like chill talk with Jack Low. Yeah. So this is
Okay. Did you say True Thought?
yeah, yeah, chill talk. Like I mean chill
True
with
Talk.
Jack Low. Chill with Jack Low.
Okay, cool. Cool.
Right. So this
I
is
like
a
it.
new series, kind of like
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
think
for
that's
sure.
what I like doing, like just having fun, just talk about
Sure.
random
Yeah.
thoughts that in our head, and I feel that you are been very thoughtful throughout the whole
Yeah, for sure.
conversation, and I really appreciate that. Yeah.
All
Cool.
right, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. I just gonna end the recording right over here.